Did you know that only 3% of stories captivate their audience from start to finish? That's right. Most stories lose their readers or viewers halfway through. If you want to be in that top 3%, you need to master the art of storytelling. Great storytelling isn't just about having a good plot. It's about how you tell it. In fact, a study by Stanford University found that stories are 22 times more memorable than facts alone. That's huge. So, how do you become a great storyteller? It's all about using the right techniques. In this video, we'll explore 9 powerful plot techniques that will transform your storytelling. Whether you're a writer, filmmaker, or just love telling stories, these tips will make your tales unforgettable. You'll learn about the power of unexpected twists, how to create emotional connections, and the art of balancing tension and release. We'll dive into modern twists on the hero's journey, interactive narratives, and pacing perfection. Plus, we'll cover multi-layered plots, character-driven drama, and the magic of cliffhangers. Ready to take your storytelling to the next level? Let's dive in and discover these game-changing techniques together. Chapter 1. The Power of the Unexpected, Surprising Twists and Turns. Have you ever read a story that just blew your mind? The ones with twists that made you gasp? That's the power of the unexpected. Great storytellers know how to surprise their audience. One of the best examples of this is George R.R. Martin's Game of Thrones. When you least expect it, bam! A major character dies. Creating surprises keeps your audience glued to your story. According to a study by Emory University, surprising events activate the pleasure centers of the brain. This means your audience feels a rush of enjoyment when you surprise them. One way to do this is by planting red herrings. These are clues that lead your audience to false conclusions. Agatha Christie was a master at this. In her books, you think you know who the killer is, but she always pulls the rug out from under you. Another technique is the Chekhov's gun. This principle, named after the Russian playwright Anton Chekhov, states that if you introduce a gun in the first act, it must go off in the second or third. Use this technique to set up surprises early on and pay them off later. Twists don't always have to be big and dramatic. Sometimes, a small, unexpected detail can make a huge impact. Think about the end of The Sixth Sense. The twist is subtle but changes the entire story. Lastly, make sure your twists are logical. They should feel surprising but inevitable. Your audience should think, "Wow, I didn't see that coming, but it makes sense." This is the key to a satisfying twist. Chapter 2. Emotionally charged arcs, creating deep connections. Connecting with your audience on an emotional level is crucial. Stories that make us feel something stick with us. Pixar is a great example of this. Their movies, like Up and Inside Out, make us laugh, cry, and everything in between. To create emotionally charged arcs, start with relatable characters. They don't have to be perfect. In fact, flaws make them more relatable. According to a study by the University of Southern California, characters with relatable flaws evoke empathy from the audience. Think about Harry Potter. He's brave but also struggles with fear and doubt. This makes him real and relatable. Next, put your characters through emotional trials. These trials should be challenging and force your characters to grow. In The Hunger Games, Katniss faces constant danger and loss, which shapes her into a strong, resilient character. Show the internal and external struggles of your characters. Internal struggles are the emotional battles within a character, like guilt or fear. External struggles are obstacles they face in the world, like villains or natural disasters. Balance these struggles to create a rich, emotional journey. Your audience will become invested in your character's growth and root for them to overcome their challenges. Use dialogue to reveal emotions. Instead of saying, "She was sad," show it through her words and actions. A quote from Ernest Hemingway captures this well. Show the readers everything, tell them nothing. Chapter 3. Dynamic Duo, Balancing Tension and Release. Balancing tension and release is like playing a symphony. Too much tension, and your audience feels overwhelmed. Too little, and they get bored. The trick is to find the perfect balance. Alfred Hitchcock was a master of this. He once said, "There is no terror in the bang, only in the anticipation of it." Building anticipation creates tension. Think of a scene where a character slowly opens a creaky door. Your heart races as you wait to see what's behind it. Pacing is key to maintaining this balance. A study by the University of Florida found that varying the pace of a story keeps the audience engaged. Use quick, short scenes to ramp up tension and longer, more detailed scenes to provide relief. Think of tension as climbing a mountain. Each step up increases the suspense. But once you reach the peak, you need a moment to catch your breath and enjoy the view. This is the release. One technique for creating tension is the ticking clock. This is when a character is racing against time. For example, in the movie Speed, a bus has to keep moving to avoid an explosion. The ticking clock keeps the audience on the edge of their seat. For release, give your audience moments of calm. These are scenes where characters reflect, plan, or connect with others. These moments let your audience relax before the next wave of tension hits. Lastly, use cliffhangers to end your scenes. Cliffhangers leave your audience wanting more. A study by the University of Sussex found that cliffhangers activate the brain's reward system, making your audience eager to continue. Balancing tension and release will keep your audience hooked from start to finish. Chapter 4: The Hero's Journey, Modern Twists on a Classic Framework. The Hero's Journey is a timeless storytelling framework. Joseph Campbell's monomyth, from his book, The Hero with a Thousand Faces, outlines a hero's adventure. But, how do we keep it fresh? Adding modern twists can make it feel new again. Start by breaking stereotypes. Your hero doesn't have to be a young, strong man. They can be anyone. Look at Katniss from The Hunger Games. She's a young girl, but she's fierce and resourceful. This twist makes her journey unique. Next, mix up the stages. Traditionally, the hero leaves home, faces trials, and returns changed. But you can start in the middle of the action, then flash back to the beginning. This keeps your audience guessing. Consider changing the setting. A hero's journey in space, like in Star Wars, feels different from one in medieval times. A new environment can breathe life into familiar steps. Add moral ambiguity. In today's world, black and white morals can feel outdated. Create heroes who make tough choices with no clear right or wrong. This makes their journey more relatable. Use technology. In the digital age, heroes can face modern challenges. Think of Ready Player One, where the hero navigates a virtual world. This adds a contemporary twist to the classic tale. Lastly, give your hero personal stakes. The journey isn't just about saving the world. It's also about personal growth. In Iron Man, Tony Stark's journey is as much about becoming a better person as it is about defeating villains. Chapter 5: Interactive Narratives, Engaging Your Audience. Interactive storytelling is the future. It transforms passive viewers into active participants. According to a study by the University of Wisconsin, interactive stories increase engagement and retention. One way to create interactive narratives is through branching paths. Think of choose-your-own adventure books. Each choice leads to a different outcome. This makes your audience feel in control. Video games are a great example. In The Witcher 3, players' choices affect the story's ending. This deepens their connection to the characters and plot. You can also use social media. Platforms like Twitter and Instagram let you interact with your audience in real time. Ask for their input on plot decisions. This makes them feel involved. Live storytelling events are another option. These can be in person or virtual. Let your audience suggest plot twists or character actions. This creates a unique, communal experience. Augmented reality, AR, and virtual reality, VR, are cutting-edge tools. They immerse your audience in the story. In the AR game, Pokémon Go, players explore the real world to find virtual creatures. This blend of reality and fiction is captivating. Lastly, use episodic content. Release your story in installments, like a TV series. At the end of each episode, let your audience vote on what happens next. This keeps them coming back for more. Chapter 6: Pacing Perfection, Controlling the Rhythm of Your Story. Pacing is crucial in storytelling. It's the rhythm that keeps your audience engaged. Too fast, and they might miss important details. Too slow, and they'll lose interest. Finding the perfect balance is key. Start with a strong hook. The first few minutes are critical. A study by Microsoft found that the average human attention span is just 8 seconds. Grab their attention right away. Use a mix of short and long scenes. Short scenes create urgency and excitement. Long scenes allow for character development and deeper plot exploration. Break up action with moments of calm. This gives your audience a chance to breathe and process what's happened. Think of it as a roller coaster ride. The highs are thrilling because of the lows. Keep your scenes focused. Each one should advance the plot or develop a character. Avoid filler that doesn't contribute to the story. Use cliffhangers wisely. Ending a scene or chapter with a cliffhanger keeps your audience wanting more. But don't overdo it. Too many can feel gimmicky. Pay attention to the natural flow of your story. Let it guide you. Sometimes, a slower pace is necessary to build suspense or develop a complex plot. Finally, listen to your audience. Their feedback can help you understand what pacing works best for them. Chapter 7: Multi-layered plots. Weaving complex storylines. Creating multi-layered plots adds depth to your story. It keeps your audience engaged and wanting more. Think of your plot as an onion, with layers to peel back. Start with a strong main plot. This is the core of your story. It should be compelling and easy to follow. For example, in Breaking Bad, the main plot is Walter White's transformation from teacher to drug kingpin. Next, add subplots. These are smaller stories that support the main plot. They add richness and complexity. In Game of Thrones, there are numerous subplots, like Arya's quest for revenge and Jon Snow's rise to power. Make sure your subplots are connected to the main plot. They should influence or be influenced by the main story. This creates a cohesive narrative. For instance, in Harry Potter, the subplots about the characters' personal lives tie back to the main plot of defeating Voldemort. Use different perspectives to tell your story. This technique, known as multi-POV, point of view, lets you explore different angles. The Girl on the Train, by Paula Hawkins, uses this effectively, giving us 3 different viewpoints. Balance your plot layers. Don't let subplots overshadow the main plot. Each layer should add value and interest. Plant seeds early on. Foreshadowing future events keeps your audience intrigued. J.K. Rowling does this masterfully in the Harry Potter series, with clues that pay off in later books. Use plot twists in your subplots, too. They add surprise and keep the audience guessing. Just ensure they make sense within the larger narrative. Chapter 8: Character-driven drama, developing relatable and compelling characters. Characters are the heart of your story. If your audience cares about them, they'll care about your plot. According to a study by the University of California, stories with well-developed characters are more engaging. Start with strong character development. Give your characters distinct personalities, goals, and flaws. This makes them relatable. Think of Tony Stark from Iron Man. His arrogance is a flaw, but it also makes his growth more satisfying. Show your characters' growth. They should evolve throughout the story. In Breaking Bad, we see Walter White change from a mild-mannered teacher to a ruthless criminal. This transformation is gripping. Use dialogue to reveal character. The way your characters speak can tell us a lot about them. Ernest Hemingway said, "When writing a novel, a writer should create living people, not characters." Create relationships between your characters. These relationships drive the drama. In Friends, the dynamic between the 6 friends creates endless story possibilities. Show internal conflict. Characters should face inner struggles. This adds depth and makes them more relatable. In The Catcher in the Rye, Holden Caulfield's internal conflicts are central to the story. Balance strengths and weaknesses. Perfect characters are boring. Flaws make them interesting. Sherlock Holmes is brilliant but socially awkward. This balance makes him compelling. Make your characters face tough choices. These decisions define them and drive the plot. In The Hunger Games, Katniss must constantly make life and death decisions. Chapter 9: Cliffhanger Craft, leaving them wanting more. Cliffhangers are powerful tools in storytelling. They keep your audience coming back for more. A good cliffhanger leaves them on the edge of their seat. End your scenes with a cliffhanger. This keeps your audience hooked. Think of TV shows like Lost, which mastered the art of the cliffhanger. Each episode ended with a twist, making viewers eager for the next one. Use cliffhangers at key moments. They're most effective at the end of chapters or episodes. This creates anticipation. According to a study by the University of Sussex, cliffhangers increase dopamine levels, making your audience crave more. Keep your cliffhangers varied. They don't always have to be life or death situations. Sometimes, a simple unanswered question can be just as effective. In The Da Vinci Code, Dan Brown ends many chapters with intriguing questions. Balance cliffhangers with resolution. Too many unresolved endings can frustrate your audience. Give them a sense of payoff before introducing new cliffhangers. Use foreshadowing to set up cliffhangers. Plant clues early on. This makes the cliffhanger feel earned and not out of the blue. Create emotional cliffhangers. These involve personal stakes for your characters. In Grey's Anatomy, emotional cliffhangers keep viewers deeply invested in the characters' lives. Lastly, make sure your cliffhangers are logical. They should fit naturally within the story. Avoid cheap tricks that feel forced. A well-crafted cliffhanger leaves your audience eagerly awaiting the next part of your story.